So I'm going on a little bit of adventure today. I love to travel. Usually it's for work or to attend a fitness expo, but this is something for me. This is something that I have wanted to do for a very long time. I love history. It's not something that I've always loved. I actually used to hate history when I was younger. But when I went to college, I took, World History 1 and 2. I took US History 1 and 2. I became not obsessed with history, but I do love to attend museums and I love to attend historical sites. I took World History, I don't know, years ago, and while I was in that semester I actually got extra credit because I saved up money and went to Hawaii so I could go see Pearl Harbor. My dad is a history major, so he will go on and he will tell you so much about different events and historical things that have happened in the past. And so I was supposed to jump on a plane in 2 hours actually back to San Antonio. But instead, I rebooked my flight and I booked a flight to Krakow, Poland. I want to go to the Auschwitz camp. I know some people will probably be like, why are you going there? Like, why would you do that? It's a really sad part of history. But the reason that I want to go is because of the lack of compassion and the lack of love that they had for people. So this is just something that I've always wanted to go see for myself. I'm a huge believer in keeping history alive because I believe it prevents it from happening again, and it's a way of remembering the people and the families. I don't even know if I'm gonna post this video, to be honest, because I'm a very positive person. I'm a very happy person. I like to focus on the positives, and this place is very sad. I know this is something I am going to remember for the rest of my life. It's my way of remembering the people that were affected and that lost their lives or lost their families or were separated by their families at that time. I am going by myself as well. Everyone else had to get back home. We've been traveling so much and I don't blame them. It's not exciting to go there, but for me it's exciting to be doing this on my own. I've never traveled around Europe by myself, so this is kind of crazy. I'm not afraid of traveling, especially by myself. You just have to be really smart. I always make sure that I'm around people, going on a tour and taking taxis instead of a bus. It's a little bit more expensive, but I believe it's a little safer as long as you get in a legit taxi. Probably gonna give my parents and Josh a couple gray hairs while I do this. I'm not afraid to travel and to experience things. We're never waiting for other people to join you. Just go out and do it yourself. If you don't have someone to go with you, go by yourself. Don't be afraid. If you're going to do it, be very safe. So all I have is a backpack. I'm bringing a backpack with me. I am just going for the day, so I fly in there today around noon, and then I'm gonna be spending the night there and then flying back to Cologne the following morning. I'm technically backpacking my way to Poland. So I still can't believe I'm doing this right now. Traveling by myself. The airport's been fun. Some people speak okay English, so there's definitely a little bit of a language barrier. It's a grocery store. Never seen a grocery store inside of an airport. This is like a legit grocery store. Dude. You can buy like milk and yogurt? This is eggs? Why can you buy eggs? You can't cook them. This is crazy. I've never seen this before.
Was built in the immediate vicinity of the Bundeswehr division of IG Farben. German industry near Auschwitz gained great importance as
Hey guys, so I made it here, finally. I got off the plane and I got a cab that took me to the meeting point for the tour, and I did join a tour. I wasn't going to at first, but I figured since I am traveling alone that it is better to do it with a tour rather than go by myself. I think that going on a tour is probably the best idea right now, but I'm outside of Auschwitz right now. I've seen many documentaries and I've wrote multiple essays in college on this place, but seeing it in person is a feeling I can't describe to any of you. It was a very cold and dreadful day when I walked into Auschwitz concentration camp, which seemed fitting for such a cold and dreadful place. I don't think the sun ever shines in Auschwitz. Many people pay for a tour, They ride the 2-hour shuttle, and they change their mind once they get to the gate. Once they see that sign, work will set you free. Nobody is prepared for the type of emotions you feel when you are standing outside that gate. I felt nervous, sad, angry, and all other types of emotions. I wondered if I should actually walk inside the camp, a place where millions of people were murdered for no reason. A lot of people go mostly because they want to see, to feel, to learn, to try to understand what really happened back then, but there is no explanation. Some people also go to pay their respects to people whose lives were ended and forever changed. The first block we walked into was Block 4. This was the extermination building. Our tour guide showed us a map with different gas chambers and different concentration camps. We also saw these pieces of paper which showed us names and reasons on why people were brought to the concentration camp. We then walked into another room called the Road of Death, where we saw real-life photos of people being brought in on a train, women, children, elderly, kids, and they were lined up for the selection. Women, children, elderly, and the handicapped were sent directly to the gas chambers, and they had no idea. In another room, we were shown canisters of pesticides that were used to kill people in the gas chambers. This building, number 5, was the most difficult building to walk into. The material proof of crime. The belongings you see in these clips are from the prisoners at Auschwitz. You see tons of glasses that were taken from them before they were sent into the gas chambers. You see Jewish prayer shawls that were also taken. And one of the most horrifying things I saw were the prosthetic limbs, the braces, the crutches, and anything else for the handicapped. These were taken from the people before they were sent into the gas chambers. The prisoners of these camps were told that they would have a better life soon and to put their name and their address on their suitcases, and they would be returned to them once they were done working at the camp. Two rooms that I thought were the most difficult was the shoe room, where you see 40,000 pairs of shoes. I couldn't help but stare at 1 or 2 shoes at a time and wondered who they belonged to. Another room, which was full of human hair, braids, ponytails, balled up hair, was not allowed to be videotaped. But it was a very, very difficult room to visit. The next block we went into was number 7. We saw some of the living conditions of the prisoners in the first few weeks the camp started. They were terrible living conditions, but nothing compared to what you will see later in this video. As we walked through the halls, we saw many photos on the wall of the prisoners who were kept at Auschwitz. You see the uniforms they wear, which look like striped pajamas, and numbers across their chest. At the bottom of the photo, it shows deported and when they passed away. Many people only lived a few months of being in the camp. Block 11 was the next building that we went to. This is the building where prisoners were experimented on and where they were tortured. It was really hard to listen to a lot of the stories that the tour guide told us. There was a few times that I actually had to take out my headphones because I didn't want to hear anymore. Men and women were forced to strip naked in these rooms, leave their clothes in there, and walk out to the death wall where they were shot. They were also starved to death and suffocated in some of those rooms. Right outside block number 7 was a gate. Inside that gate, where you walked all the way towards the back, is where you see the death wall. This is where people were lined up, sometimes in groups, sometimes individual, and were executed. We walked into one of the gas chambers. I couldn't understand why people are allowed to enter considering millions of people were killed inside. But I remembered the gas chambers weren't the only place people were killed. The word chamber is such an ugly word, which fit this entire room. When you look around, the walls, the ceiling, the floor, everything was ugly. There's actually 3 separate camps to Auschwitz. The first part I showed you was the main camp. There was also Auschwitz Monowitz, which was a labor camp. In this camp here was Birkenau, the extermination camp. This is where the train came in with prisoners and a selection took place. The selection was where they picked strong and healthy workers for the camp, and the rest of the people were sent to the gas chambers. They would force close to 100 prisoners in one of those train sections. Here you see the ruins of one of the largest gas chambers in the camp. It was destroyed to try and cover up what really happened here. This right here is where the prisoners lived and where they slept. There was about 8 people that slept and lived on each bunk area. Some people had no choice but to sleep in the walk area on the dirt because there was too many people and not enough room. The place was filled with rats, insects, and diseases. Visiting a place like this and facing the reality of what happened, seeing the proof right in front of your eyes still makes it difficult to grasp. But I still feel that it's important to go see.